We've just come to the end of our reading of the book of Genesis, and we'll go on next week to start Exodus. And we've heard Joseph in his wisdom speaking to his brothers about, and his brothers approach him in fear about what will Joseph do now that we're here and he's the one in power, and we don't want to suffer disaster, so they go to him in fear and plead mercy. And he reminds them of the reality that they did something evil, but God was able to turn the evil deed they did into something good, into their salvation. The evil they did ended up in saving them, because God is able to change the worst situations into good. He can change darkness into light, death into life, however bad the situation is. And so I just, to speak to you just a little on that, because the reality is, certainly myself, I like it when life is easy and everything is going smoothly, no problems. That's the way I like it. I like it when everything just comes together and it just goes, smoothly, and we work together well, and when I do stuff, it just happens, and all of these, I like it when that happens. But does that ever happen really? No. And the reality, as we all know, is that life doesn't work like that. You and I are called to grow. We've got to grow up physically, we've got to grow up and mature as human beings, and also spiritually. And that growth never happens without resistance. It never happens without resistance. Growth never happens without resistance. If we lie in our bed all day, every day, we become weak and we can do nothing. We don't grow. When we get out of bed and start doing and start acting, when we respond to the resistance that we encounter each day, then we grow. When we respond in a positive, holy way, then we grow. And this is what the Lord wants. We are to grow at the end of the day in love. In love. We're to grow in love. And that doesn't happen unless we meet resistance to love. Where do we first find resistance to love? Where do we first encounter it? Is it out there? In our work, perhaps? Or in our neighborhoods? Is it perhaps there? Is it perhaps with our, let's see, what else could it be? Work, neighbors, friends. Is that where we encounter resistance to love in society? The answer is actually no. The answer is our families. That's where we primarily encounter resistance. That's the first place we grow in love. Children with your brothers and sisters. Spouses with your spouses and your kids. That's where we primarily grow in love, because we're not escaping them and we have to deal with them. And if we can love them, then we're much more, whom we can't escape from and whom we have to face every day, then we're much more equipped to face those whom we meet every now and again out there. Why am I saying that? Because we've got to experience resistance. We've got to experience hardship. And so it's the same with our faith. In the same with our faith, we've got to experience difficulties and overcome them to grow in love. And that includes the persecution. That includes people who will say and do things that will make us feel awful and cause us to suffer. And we're called to love them, to resist not by striking back, but to resist by forgiving and loving in return. And that resistance goes all the way to the ultimate, which is death, giving our lives. That's the call. Easy life for a Christian? No. Easy life for human beings? No. But for a Christian, every day, carrying our cross one step closer to death, crucifixion, giving our lives for the Lord. That is the life of the Christian. Your life, my life. There is no escaping it. And so we're to grow. We are to give ourselves to that. Lord, this is the lot of my life that you have given me. Lord, I say yes to this. Lord, I say yes to the resistance. Lord, I say yes to the suffering. Lord, I say yes to the cross for you.